Yo guys, what is up? What is up? Dar is back in World of Tanks. And today we are taking a look at everybody's favorite tank, the M3 Lee. Now a lot of people swear at this tank and some people swear by this tank. I am one of the ats. I do not like this tank. In game, this tank is, in my humble opinion, a hunk of shit. It has a lot of drawbacks. The main gun is in the hull, which basically turns this thing into a TD with none of the TD advantages. Now, it does have a good gun. Your top gun here is a 75mm, the M3 L37. Now it does pump out a top damage of 110, and with a average penetration of 92mm. Now, once you put the whole tank together, you can get a 115 penetration with 138 shell damage. The gun is very, very good, fairly accurate. Let's just see what the accuracy on it is. The accuracy is 0.4. Okay, well, that's not good. But I really, in practice, I've really never had a horrible time with the accuracy on it. But on paper, it's 0.4 is not good. 0.4 is not good accuracy. But in practice, I haven't really noticed a whole lot of problem with the accuracy. So, I think it might be one of those things, practice versus, on paper. And that is the only saving grace of this tank. The armor is pretty much non-existent. The slope, it is sloped, but it's only got 51mm of armor on it, and that's not good. Now you are looking at 38mm on the side and the rear. And then when you look at it, this turret here, that is not even a turret that you can use. The whole thing is nothing but a huge weak point. You look at this weak point right here on the front. When I'm fighting against them, I have no problem penetrating the front of this with anything tier 4, tier 5. So, the side is just riddled with weak points. It's only at 38 anyway. And then you got, this hatch here, the giant turret again. The same thing, the entire back. Most of the back is this big old door down here. Or the big old, weak point turret. So, you're not going to be taking shots of this thing. If you want to play this tank, or have to play this tank in, I would say most cases, you're going to want to stay behind your heavies, or at least any of your heavy hitters. You're going to want to stay behind them and support the push. Excuse me. Let them take as much of the hits as possible, and use this thing's one good attribute, which is that 75mm gun. Otherwise, there's not really a whole lot to say. Just grind the hell through it. Get to the M4 Lee or the M4 Sherman. Once you get to the M4 Sherman, your world opens up a little bit. It's a lot happier, a lot more fun to be had. We'll say. The M4 is a very versatile tank, which we will cover in our next garage episode. However, this one, it's just one of those things. It's just really one of those things. And I know there are some people out there that could just run the ever-loving shit out of this thing. I'm just not one of them. I started this crew at 50%, and we are at 76%. So I have done quite a few matches in this thing just to try to get a little bit of gameplay footage for y'all, just to, so we can cover it here in the garage. I'm not sure if it worked or not, but hopefully, I'm trying a new thing here. If you see a video here on the corner or whatever of the garage screen here, I'm trying to play some, gameplay right there on the side, just as something new. Just try it out. If it works in editing, then it's there. If you don't see it, well, I apparently couldn't pull it off properly in the editing. So let's break into the history on the M3 Lee. Now that's actually something a little interesting. Now the M3 was an American tank used during World War II. In Britain, the tank was called by two different names, based on the turret configuration. Tanks employing the U.S. patent turrets were called the General Lee, named after the Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Variants using the British patent turrets was known as the General Grant, named after, of course, the U.S. General Ulysses S. Grant. Now, the tank was commissioned in 1940, and the first M3 Lees were in operation in late 1941. The U.S. Army needed a good tank that was able to basically fill Britain's demand for medium tanks. At that time, they were placing an order with the United States for 3,600 medium tanks. They desperately needed tanks at the time, and the M3 Lee production actually began in late 1940. The M3 was well armed and armored for the period, but due to obvious design flaws, namely the high silhouette, the main gun being in the hull and not the turret, as well as below average off-road performance, it was not satisfactory and was withdrawn from the front lines as soon as the M4 became widely available in large numbers for obvious reasons. And, it's what they tried to do. They trying to make this thing, first of all, they needed something that was going to stand up against the German Panzer III and Panzer IV tanks. They needed that 75mm gun in the field ASAP. I mean, like, immediately. Putting the 75mm in the hull was cheaper, easier, and faster to produce than the M4 Sherman, where they put that 75mm in the turret. Also, they thought at first that it was going to work, because they took this whole design of putting a 75mm in the hull and a 37mm anti-infantry turret on top, and they took basically, because they had used that in the French Char B, they had used that design in the Soviet T-35, the first British Churchill used a similar design, and they thought that maybe it would work. Well, they were obviously wrong, and they knew very shortly after the release of this tank that it was not going to work. But with the need for that 75, they rushed it out, and they went ahead and put it in the field. It's basically a stopgap until the M4 Sherman came along. So it was no surprise to anybody. The American military knew when they released this tank that it was basically just a stopgap. It was only, the only reason it was, the only way is we need to get this 75 out there. We got to get it out there, because we don't have anything. Before that, they were using 35 or 37mm main guns out of the M2 medium tanks. So they had nothing, and this thing had to get out there, because they had nothing that could stand up to the Panzer III and Panzer IV the Germans were using. And the 75 was it. And the 75mm gun, was carried over to the M4 Sherman, and was the saving grace for the Allied armies until the Tiger reared its ugly head on the battlefield. We will save that for another story. Alright, so, without further ado, let's get into the one chunk of gameplay I was able to scrape up here with me, yours truly, showing what I was going to say showing what this thing can do, but this thing can't do much. So let's say showing the amount I was personally able to scrape out of it. Alright, here we go. We can see this is a tier 4 game, so about the best the M3 Lee can hope for. We're up against A20s, Hitzers, Luches, other M3s, M5 Stuart. So honestly, everything we're up against, the 75mm should have no problem penetrating. However, that 75mm is being carried by this M3 Lee, so yeah, everything poses a threat to us. But let's just see how we're able to pull it off. Alright, here we go. You can see we are at the northern tip, and I don't know, this map's okay. A lot of times I like to go the railway just because it seems like there's not a lot of people that go that way, but going the other way over here, I like it because it offers a lot more cover. But we opted to go the railway. Let's just take control here. See what we got. We have the M8A1, T28, which I can't wait to cover that one. I want to see what they've done to it since I actually played it when I was leveling. When I was leveling, that tank was awesome. I love that thing. The A20 and the loot's coming over here. Looks like we're going to have 2 TDs as backup. T28 and A20 in front of me. There's an M3 Lee over there. And no shot. Okay, screw it. Let's continue on. Oh, this T4 converter or Chevrolet or whatever. There's a British Tier 4 tank. There's the Hitzer T28 up on the hill. Ooh, hi T28. Ooh, nice shot for 100 damage on him. Taking him down to 69%. And there goes our A20. Our Lucius is still out there with that Hitzer and A20 on top of him. He's probably... Oh, here comes that T28. Here he comes. Oh, and I missed. Looks like he's probably going to try to charge me. See him kind of coming around. It looks like he's going to head down this way. The Lotus is gone. I got the A20 and the Hitzer bearing down on me. Miss on the A20. I take a shot. Bam! 124 on the A20. You can see I'm kind of trying to serpentine as I back up a little bit, trying to get this thing to bounce some shots of some kind. And it is helping them to miss me. Comes the Hitzer. Oh, 103 damage on a Hitzer while moving. That was a nice luck shot. Here comes that. Yeah, there he is, there he is, there he is. Come on, stop, stop. Aim, and he's out of there. Get rid of that little British tank. We know that T20 is still coming down here. And he is a threat. Now I got stuck on the damn train. I'm still kind of serpentining, trying, just hoping they miss, or maybe I can bounce something. And that's one of the things I do not like about this tank and TDs in general, is that it's really hard to angle your hull in order to get bounce shots because your gun is in the hull and not the turret. Alright, so I'm going to take shelter here. I found me a nice little spot here, giving them less M3 Lee to shoot at. And I know that T20's coming. I know he's coming down here. I mean, he was looking for blood. There he is. There's T20. Oh, T28. Right. And he's gone. Finished his ass off. That'll teach you to hunt the M3 Lee. Alright, so here we go. Hitzer's moving up. So let's move up behind him. Again, we're going to use him basically as cover. We've already got 2 kills. We've done some damage on some other tanks. So, generally, this is, in my opinion, a very good battle for an M3 Lee. Su-85B. Don't think we're going to get shot off on him. No. And you can see the trolling going on in chat between that Hitzer and the A20. Apparently, the Hitzer took out the A20. Alright, so here we go, moving right up here behind the Hitzer. They've only got 2 tanks left, so they have the Su-85B, and what is that other little one there? Oh, the BS artillery, which lives up to its name. That artillery is pure BS. And I believe I did cover that one already in a garage segment if y'all would like to take a look at the bullshit artillery. Alright, here comes the Su-85. I'm trying to go around these buildings. I think the Hitzer's got his attention. I was thinking around these buildings and try to get a snipe off on him and kind of outflank him. But you can see his ass is running, so that ain't quite work out. And yep, there we go. That, I believe it was the T80 was able to knock him out of there. And that was the end of the game. So overall, not too bad. Let's go to the. Alright guys, and here we are at our battle results, our scoreboard. You can see I am running with just standard account for currently. Don't have the premium just yet. But I did let that lapse. My bad. But anyway, let's see. So we did survive that round. And we got 10,654 credits. And we got 2,170 experience, which isn't too bad. Now this was a tier 5. Or this was 5 times, experience day, so It's not the greatest, but honestly, this is about the best I can muster out of an M3 Lee. I mean, oh god, I cannot play this thing for shit. And most people have difficulties with this tank because it is a piece of shit. Let's look over here at how we did. We were 5th on our team, as far as experience gained. We did manage to kill 2 tanks. Yes, we managed to kill 2 tanks. And we did get a good amount of damage here on the A20, on the British tank. Now, what I'm curious, oops, I messed that up right there. But yeah, we did do pretty good right there. We were 4th on our team. We did better than everybody on the losing team. Now, this SU-85B seemed, I mean, we don't know exactly what he did, but he did get 4 kills in, and he was top dog on his team. Where is that? Yeah, T-28. He got no kills. He didn't actually do too bad. He was very aggressive. He's very aggressive and tried to play smart. When he started, he tried to play smart, but we seen him come down off that hill after us, and we knew what was going on at that point. And here we go. We can see we fired 9 shots. We hit with 6 of them. We had 6 penetrating shots. We did 617 damage, which isn't too shabby for this thing. We received 5 shots, and we lived. So that's not too bad, when you're running the Lee. And we did have all tier 4s shooting back at us. We didn't have like tier 2s or anything shooting back at us. So that ain't too bad. And potential damage received was 355. And you can see here, the reload stuff. So we did make, we made 88,000, almost 9,000 credits on the match, even with premium. You see, if we had premium, again, that's why I like this thing, is it encourages you, if we had premium, it would have been 14,000 credits income instead of the 8,000. But, what can you do? So, guys, that is the M3 Lee. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't ever tried the M3 Lee, I suggest you do try it so that you appreciate every other tank in the game. So until next time, guys, remember, hit that thumbs up. It really helps us out over here. Comment, rate, and subscribe. And there's an email address in the description below if you would like to send your replays in to have them featured on the channel. Till next time, guys, I will see you in game.